Good evening, everyone. Greetings and love. This is Marcia with Gnoshery Libertas, and you're joining us for Sanctuary episode 57 on February 27th, 2023. Every Monday evening, we gather together to connect our hearts, to connect our minds, to talk about our lives and our stories on the after call. But during this part of the call, we really open ourselves to be receptive to the light transmission from spirit. And what that is really just a theme of the week from what I call spirit. You could call Holy Spirit, Great Spirit, any name that you want to call the active part of God's source that moves through us, but can also guide us and give us the bigger picture of events, so that perhaps maybe when we are walking through this thing called life, we have a better sense of how to come from a loving and wise perspective rather than maybe feeling, triggered, or coming from a reactive perspective where we don't necessarily have the tools and resources to bring our best selves to the moment or to the situation. And so we get together every week to really hear what Spirit's perspective is of the coming energies of the week, and also what are the supporting energies which are going to help best navigate us through these, peaks and valleys of life. And so every week we have a light transmission, which is the theme, but we also have the supporting energies. And if you would ever like to be on the call with us, you are more than welcome to join us as a live guest. And you can do so by joining either one of our memberships, which is through either Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. So on Patreon, that would be patreon.com/Gnoshery Libertas. On buymeacoffee.com, it's /Gnoshery Cafe. You can also meet with me privately through Signal app for one-to-one private readings or mentorships. And I offer those weekly and monthly. And those are through etsy.com/shop/Gnoshery Libertas. Before I move into the light transmission tonight, I'm going to take a moment to connect with Spirit and be back for the transmission called Right Place, Right Time. Spirit will often use the lyrics that I'm listening to on Pandora when I'm in meditation to speak to an aspect of the reading that might be harder to articulate in other words. And so lyrics do a great job of crystallizing soul concepts, and Spirit uses them often within these readings to get specific points across. And the very first lyrics to come through for this transmission were, "When I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found." And so this lyric of Spirit being that missing piece that we are all really searching for, and what is Spirit, but really the highest aspect of ourselves being able to come into physical form. Oh, I think I have someone new on the call. Just a second. I think we're muted out. Okay, perfect. So this light transmission of right place, right time, the second lyrics to come through where "I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign." And so Spirit wanting us to realize that eyes are beginning to see, ears are beginning to hear. The heart is coming online, and there's activations occurring at the level of soul that are allowing us to be within our weave and to be within this concept of right place, right time. And so we're also going to talk about some of the supported energies coming through. And one of these is this baptism or this purification energy that is moving through this week. And it's both with fire and with water. And Spirit is also going to speak to the circuitous route. So we've not always being linear, in fact, very rarely being linear. And so us needing to understand that we move as fractals and we move in this kind of wave-like pattern. And often we need to pick up places that we've been before. And this is often a circuitous route to the ego mind, who, wants to move from point A to B, often in the quickest, fastest, and most instantly gratuitous way. So as we move through this baptism or this chrism by fire and water this week, we're also going to be encouraged to find pleasure in every moment. And Spirit is going to speak to why that is incredibly important. We also had the frequency of the naked truth come up more than once in the reading. And so we'll speak to what Spirit really means behind that phrase. As well, hard work is paying off, and the energy of miracles are in the air. And often a miracle is just a perception shift within us, but this also speaks to external stars aligning, so to speak. And so the last part of the lyrics within this first introduction were, "We're finally in the clear." And so for people out there who have been feeling a bit of heaviness, and particularly the last couple months, there's this feeling of being able to take a sigh of relief, this feeling of being finally in the clear. And so this circuitous route that Spirit has spoken to, this is about divine GPS. And, oh, just one moment here. I've got people coming in. When Spirit was talking about this divine GPS, this circuitous route, I am a delivery driver now, and I was flashed to how many times I have missed like the right road to turn on, or have simply been like, needing to take a U-turn because I've been facing the wrong direction of the place that I need to pick up from. And always, thank gosh, for these little algorithms now, it always gives me a new path to take. And sometimes that path is even shorter or better than the original path. And it's not something that I would have come up with. And that's the same kind of analogy that Spirit is speaking to here with this circuitous route. Hold on one second. I'm going to mute out our participants here. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know what's going on with the tech tonight. Yes, we're on a circuitous route for me staying focused. So this divine GPS, this perception shift, once again, Spirit speaking to. And also this feeling of being off weave or out of sync, or even under the weave, where it starts to feel oppressive, or like we can't seem to get our head above what needs to happen. And often this starts playing out in our lives where, maybe the laundry has been sitting for days on end, or we're, bills are stacking up. Things are just not getting done in a fashion which maybe our ego mind would desire, or this feeling of just being off tune or out of step. And so Spirit says, if it seems that we are getting caught out of breath or going in the wrong direction, we may be dancing to our own tune rather than the tune of our soul. And we will know that we're outside of our weave when we feel out of step with everything or everyone around us. So we're really encouraged that if that is something that we are experiencing, that it is now the moment to regroup, to sit down, and to rest for a while until the rhythm calls to us again. And last week, Spirit, talked about dance the dance, don't sit this one out. And that is one of the beauties of weave, this paradox, that what is true in one moment may not be true in the next. So we are encouraged to dance the dance, don't sit it out. And yet if we are feeling out of sync with the weave, we may be asked to take a pause, a rest, or a moment of stillness so that we can make sure that we are still in tune with this greater rhythm that is, both within us, but also, greater than us. And one of the weave errors, we talked about, errors in weave last week that we can make, is to move before or after the Spirit within us is calling us to move. And if you're someone who experiences, worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, it's very easy to listen to that fear and to move when that fear is making us move. And so Spirit said, really just, it's a call to be receptive and to be present and to allow Spirit with a capital S. And it will always come from within us, and it will call us to move. And of course, we can, be a little bit lazy, and we can say, oh, I'll get to that later. And that's another way that we can miss that weave. Now, of course, we'll talk later in the call, and we've talked before that you can never miss what is meant for you, but it can, take another spiral around. And so if we're wanting to decrease that amount of time between our weaves, so to speak, lining up, then we're encouraged to move when the Spirit calls us to move. So this spiral dancer energy coming forward, and it being gentle, and it calling us to be still so that we can fully receive its grace. knowing that we are always loved by the divine, even when we are off step in the dance. And so we can be very unforgiving or very judgmental of ourselves when we are feeling that overwhelm or when we are feeling that out of sync. And yet we're encouraged that we are always loved by the divine. And there really truly is no off step in the grander scheme of things because everything is always on purpose. There are always lessons to learn, there are initiations to be had, and every moment is used to its highest purpose, even when we, quote, feel off track. So the lyrics here were, it's all just make believe. And Spirit reminding us that we are in a dream. You know, we are the dreamer. And it is important to remember that we are creating this reality at all times. And so rather than reality happening to us, it is happening through us and for us. And we are encouraged, be receptive. And also to allow others to take the lead right now or to show their true natures to us. And at the same time, we are cautioned not to allow ourselves to be manipulated by our good intentions. And this being kind of a theme that has been playing out for the last 2 years, just really using spiritual discernment with all of the information that is coming our way and not getting caught up in what we think the right thing to do is without really checking to see if it is the right thing for that moment. And we will know the truth about our situations clearly when we choose to sit the dance out and observe. So if we know we're out of rhythm or we know we're not in sync, it is time to regroup. It's time to take a step back, to take a deep breath, maybe go outside in nature, catch some snow falling, just like this picture suggests, and to really allow ourselves to take that rest until the Spirit nudges us and moves us and we can begin that dance again. Before I move into the supporting energy of the water coming to be our support and our guardian and our guide through this week, I will open up the floor for any comments or perspectives or questions. The lyrics here were, got all these emotions, don't know how to feel. At times, it's like I'm living on a Ferris wheel, torn between the fiction and what is real. And so, once again, Spirit pointing to this need for spiritual discernment to understand what is going on right now, all around us and within us, but also to offer space to the emotions that are rising within us. And some of these may not even be coming from what we would call the linear or personality or ego self, but coming from the seat of our soul. And this has been a theme of ours, I think, from December on, where it's come up like, pay attention to your emotions, give space to your emotions, and connect with your emotions. Take time to really understand how you feel. And this is like that call to deep honesty and transparency to ourselves. Where might we be kidding ourselves, or where might we be living a false reality in some way, even if it, feels good on the surface level? So this is taking time to understand how we really feel about something, and to know that our sensitivity is not a curse, but which is a gift that allows us to receive and understand the world around us. And also to know that these are messages which are directly coming from our soul, that water is the element within our blood, our tears, and our flesh. And emotion is the energy in motion within us. So we're encouraged to dive within and to understand the depth of our emotions, which are coming to the surface right now. And to know that our emotions are not just what we are experiencing on that surface level, but once again, it could be older emotions that we may have locked deep within the shadows of our soul. These are releasing from the darkness into the light of day. This is a very beautiful thing, but it's not always a comfortable thing, especially to the human who's experiencing it. So through acknowledging our deepest emotions, then we are hearing the messages that they have for us, and we're unlocking our intuitive powers. And with that comes in that streaming energy of abundance, and as well as just that simple grace that comes with knowing that once again, we are right place, right time. When we're just simply riding the surface of our thoughts and our emotions, and we're not allowing ourselves to feel deeply, that's the first way that we can fall out of rhythm with this greater weave of life. So Spirit encourages, take a moment of breath, pause, and to allow ourselves to become transparent and like a sieve, to allow everything to flow through us. And that, once again, often the whole experience lasts less than 98 seconds. Those things that we are resisting because we're so afraid that they're going to take us under, once we actually give them space to move, they often move quite effortlessly, quite gracefully, and quite quickly. And so, once again, Spirit speaks to this energy of the naked truth with the lyrics to round out this part of the reading, which were undress me to the naked truth until we're both uncomplicated. And that bringing us back to that recognition that none of this has to be as hard as we're making it. In fact, our most uncomplicated selves are the ones that Spirit is now bringing forth. I'm going to take a moment to open up the floor before I move into the next supporting energy. Pleasure was the next theme within our ability to be right place, right time within Weave, and particularly to make it a discipline, a spiritual discipline, to take pleasure in all that we are doing, especially the mundane or quote, the ordinary things, or the things that we might feel to be drudgery. To learn to really take pleasure in them and to notice or to observe when we are being a person doing our life rather than a person being in our life. Are we felt sense present with the task at hand, who we're engaging with, and what's around us? Or are we moving through our day, kind of just moving from one task to another as a means to an end? So the message here is that we're really encouraged to really take pleasure in all that we do. It's not so much about achieving or hard work or performance. What is important is that we make the most of every moment in our lives. And Dan Millman, from what was that, The Peaceful Warrior, he would say there is no ordinary moment. And it's true, once we are really present, everything becomes alive and activated in an entirely new way than when we are moving through life in that superficial, mind distracted place. So we're encouraged to do more things that bring us pleasure, as well as to bring more pleasure to our things. And the lyrics here were, I'm singing and praying with my mind set on freedom. So know that this pleasure, this ability to bring pleasure to all of life, also brings us freedom. And finally, how we do something is more important than what we are doing. So when things become more pleasurable, Spirit says we will also notice that we effortlessly accomplish more with less stress and less effort. And this is something that I can attest to, even though my ego is incredibly resistant to it for a very long time. But when I've given myself the ability to come to the task fully and to really say to Spirit, like, I don't want to do this. Can you please like infuse me with the energy that does want to do this? Often I will glide through these tasks like singing, humming, doing this blissful work, which was not previously available to me on an ego level, I will say. So how we do something is more important than what we are doing. And when things become more pleasurable, we will also notice that we effortlessly accomplish more with less stress and less effort. Before I move into the fire energy of the evening, I will open up the floor. Not a lot of fire happening in Portland this week, as you can see from the pic, but we are pulling forth this fire energy from within us, and particularly this energy which is connected to the naked truth, or what Spirit is calling the bare essentials. So it goes back to that lyric of leaving us uncomplicated, the naked truth, wholeness, and asking ourselves, what is it that our heart truly desires? What do we perceive is missing from our lives? And in order to find the answer, Spirit says we must now directly look within our own hearts. We've already known this, but we may have been reluctant to look because a part of us fears what our heart has been trying to say. However, the only way forward is to face this shadow as well as our deepest emotions. So once again, this coming forward for recognition. And to kind of just be observant, to notice if there's anything in our lives which is not working out as we would have liked it. And Spirit wanting us to know that it's not going to get better unless we have the courage to face it. And here the phrase was, old patterns die hard. but the moment that we recognize them is also the moment that we are free. And this part of the reading ended with, "We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love." And so these lyrics reminding us that we have to tend the fire and we have to lead ourselves into the well. This is the fire. This is the water chrism. This is how we bring these energies into union within us and then into the world around us. So the water coming forward as our guardian and our support this week, and the fire stripping us, uncomplicating us, bringing us back to the naked truth, the bare essentials, so that we can truly figure out, what does my heart desire, and bring our weaves fully into wholeness. So we've got, I think, one more, two more. I don't even know anymore. So some supporting energies left. I can't read my own notes, but I would like to open up the floor one more time. Our hard work is paying off. And my hard work was trying to find the missing note, and I found it. So here we are. Our hard work is paying off, and we can expect miracles. And here, Spirit said, this also speaks to a new start professionally. So if whatever we have been working on in our life, if that energy has not been working to our desire, this energy actually heralds the start of something new and improved. And particularly regarding healers, this came forward. So this is, as a whole, a new and improved work cycle for us collectively, but this also focused on people who are healers and within the intuitive arts. So once again, says Spirit reminds us, if we're unhappy in our current career or job, or lack thereof, it is time to either renegotiate our position to look for something new, or to step into our own creations and fully give them birth in the physical world. And this is the moment, this March equinox energy, where they have the power to do so. So we're encouraged once again in that moment to dance the dance, but a new plan is called for. We must deepen into rather than turn away from. So this is not the moment to hide, repress, deny, or avoid the shadow, but to really deepen into those emotions that are coming up to the surface, those patterns which are coming up to be revealed, and to fully be healed and integrated. And the lyrics here were 90 miles on the highway, every day moving so fast, taking all the wrong ways out. Never saw you coming, stopping me in my tracks, keeping me from the long way down. How do miracles just happen like that? You can say the stars align, but I know it's more than timing. How do miracles happen just like that? Right before I hit the ground some, you came along and found me. Some would say it's magic, but I know you did all that. You are the reason, there's no doubt. And this feeling from Spirit that we can talk till we're blue in the face. We can be, shouting from the rooftops how amazing our life with, Creator is within us, how we have the Spirit moving through us. But until someone really experiences God in their own body, it's really just words. And so this feeling that God is going to be coming into the collective soul body, to a place where there is no doubt. And for those of us who have already experienced that and are already, quote, cleaving to the weave, cleaving to the Spirit, if you will, we're encouraged that daily practices will bring forth fruits of the Spirit. So we have to meet God halfway. This is not about, things just falling into our lap, but also we can't miss what's meant for us. So it will spiral back around if we did, have the blinders up in that moment. But for those of us who are ready to step forward, Spirit is encouraging us to make our dreams a reality, to avoid being too controlling with our plans, and to avoid being around any situations or any people who are too controlling of us or our plans. And so this is the frequency of ambition, building and hard work, but it's also about miracles that simply we cannot control, that would be happening, whether we efforted or whether we didn't. This is the miracle of God. This is the love and wisdom, the mysterious thing that we can know and never know fully, but yet can feel in our hearts when it comes upon us. And so the lyrics here were, how long, how much more long, how long? I've been standing at the station waiting for my change to come. Well, if my change don't hurry up and get here, I'm going to have to get me some change, that is. And so Spirit reminding is we have to meet God halfway. We have to do the work, the inner work, so that we can bring forth the fruits of the Spirit in our life. And with planning and spiritual discipline, we can achieve whatever our heart and mind desires right now. And so the last lyrics here were, you hold your breath for change to come, and we're going to have to carry you out. So once again, this reminder from Spirit that Spirit can only do so much, that we are God manifest, and that when we bring the fullness of our soul and spirit together with our human personality, then we are the Trinity. We are that union, that divine spark walking. And so that brings us to this light transmission closing of right place, right time. And Spirit reminds us that it's not always going to be a straight path from A to B. This is a circuitous route, and it often comes with humorous codes. I'm laughing internally right now because things that happened 22 years ago are coming full circle for me in ways that I never could have dreamed of or even imagined with my greatest imagination. And so that's how these miracles are, these shifts in perception, these aha moments, these revelations that on a moment change our weave in the reflection of grace, and we feel it in every cell of our bodies. And so Spirit reminds us that as we're walking through this chrism of fire and water energy, that we are called to bring pleasure to every moment that we are doing, to notice when we're just a person, a head with a body just kind of moving through task to task, but to instead stop, to take a moment to be still, to recognize, are we still in the dance? And to give pleasure to that moment, and also to ask to receive pleasure from the moment, because it's always an equal exchange. And to know that if we're walking through the fires right now, it is to bring us back to the naked truth, to the bare essentials, the core of who we are, and that our hard work is paying off. And not only that, but we can expect divine intervention. We can expect miracles and new opportunities, new resources, new people to show up just like that, possibly even on our doorstep. To trust that we are right place, right time, and to circle it all the way back to the beginning. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. So paying attention to the weave, being present with what is, and to know that we can never miss what is meant for us. Thank you all for being with me here tonight so much for this episode. And for those of you on the call, I will meet you after the recording in the after party. I will talk to you soon.